everyone, I'm Maki. When you think of the ace pilots of Gundam 00, who do you think of? The Gundam Meisters are the main characters of the story, so they can certainly be called aces. Besides them, there are many other amazing ace pilots. Let's focus on Graham Maker this time. After the end of the movie, he joins Celestial Being as a Gundam Meister. Graham, who continues to perform legendary feats, is one of the most popular characters. Today, let's take a closer look at his past. This content is from the Gundam 00N spin-off. It covers the person Graham respects the most, the infamous name he earned, and the birth of the technique known as Graham Special. Are you ready? Now press the subscribe button and begin the transformation of the Union flag. Keep in mind that the flag is not designed to transform during combat. The moment you press the button, you'll experience 12 times normal gravity. But don't worry, I'm sure you'll be fine. Good luck! This story takes place before the events of the TV anime. The Union Army was in the process of testing its next generation main weapon. Until then, the Union's main weapon had been the Union Real Mobile Suit. Two mobile suits were vying to be officially adopted as the Relo's successor. One was the Union Blast, developed by the Bell Factory. The other was the Union Flag, developed under the direction of world-renowned engineer Ralph Beefman. These two mobile suits were developed based on different concepts. While both shared the ability to switch between flight and mobile suit modes, they emphasized different aspects. The Blast emphasized its role as a successor to the Relo, focusing on its combat capabilities in flight mode. As a result, it outperformed the Flag in terms of air combat capabilities in flight mode. However, its mobile suit combat capabilities were inferior to those of the Flag. On the other hand, the Flag outperformed the Blast in mobile suit combat capabilities. Although it was slightly inferior to the Blast in aerial combat, its aerial combat capabilities were still high by the standards of the time. Thus, in terms of overall performance, the Flag was superior. In addition, the Blast had the disadvantage of being more expensive to manufacture than the Flag. At first glance, the victory of the Flag seems unquestionable. However, the complex intertwining of people's intentions led to a tragic outcome. As part of the evaluation process for the next generation main weapon, a mock battle was scheduled. The pilot chosen to fly the Flag was none other than Graham Maker. At the time, Graham was relatively unknown compared to the version of him we know today. Of course, being selected as a test pilot for the latest model already marked him as an ace. But compared to the pilot of the Blast, he was still relatively obscure. The pilot of the Blast was Major Slasher. He was a highly regarded ace pilot in the Union Army, often referred to as a living legend or unflappable Top Gun. Sledge and Graham had fought 46 mock battles during their training. The results of those sessions, Sledge won every single one of those 46 fights. Bell Factory, after analyzing the performance of both the Blast and the Flag, was convinced of the Blast's disadvantage. That's why they offered an unusually large sum of money to secure Major Sledge as the pilot. The results of the battles with Graham were also incredibly favorable for Bell Factory. Judging from the pre-battle data alone, this mock battle seemed like a stage set for the Blast to secure victory. And so the mock battle, orchestrated by corporate interests and strategies, began. Both Slick and Graham would give it their all in this intense showdown. As I mentioned earlier, Slusher's Brass was designed with a heavy emphasis on mobile armor combat. Contrary to everyone's expectations, Frag gained the upper hand in the mock battle. In an attempt to turn the tide, Slusher attempted to engage the Frag in melee combat. Some of the staff observing the battle even testified that it appeared Slusher was trying to ram the Frag. To counter the approaching burst, the Frag performed an aerial transformation. At the time, mobile suits weren't designed to transform during combat. Transformations are usually handled by the mechanic before combat, and the mode is set before the operation begins. In addition, performing a complex transformation at high speed could subject the pilot to up to 12 times the force of gravity. This amount of force is more than enough to kill a human. Of course, the Frag itself would also be affected by this immense gravitational stress, leading to the potential for damage or even a crash. However, Graham successfully completed the aerial transformation. Not only did he maintain combat readiness, but he also executed precise attacks. The Frag's sonic blade struck the brass, damaging its wings and causing it to crash. In doing so, the Frag demonstrated a resounding victory as a next-generation mobile suit and achieved the military's goals. Unfortunately, the blast crushed, killing Pilot Slusher. As a result of this incident, some in the military began to refer to Graham by the dishonorable nickname Officer Killer. In the TV anime, Joshua Edwards uses this name to refer to Graham. Although Graham was not at fault and it was an accident, he never made excuses for what happened. Why did Major Slusher die? That question remains a mystery. Some of the staff who observed the mock battle felt that with Slusher's piloting skills, the damage he sustained should have allowed for a safe landing. There was also speculation that Major Slusher's family was struggling financially, and he may have chosen not to land or eject in order to save them with the large insurance payout that would follow his death. The true story of what happened when Major Slusher and the blast were lost has faded into the shadows of history. The aerial transformation Graham performed during the mock battle later became known as the Graham Maneuver. However, Graham himself referred to it as the Graham Special. Why didn't Graham use the name Graham Maneuver? Moon of Flagrant, who appears in the Gundam Seed series, is nicknamed the Falcon of Endymion. However, this name is an ignoble one, created by the Commander Earth Alliance to cover up the blunder of killing Moo's comrades in a suicide mission. For that reason, Muda tests the name the Falcon of Endymion and calls himself the man who makes the impossible possible. The truth is unknown, but Graham may have a similar reason for disliking the term Graham Maneuver. Even after the flag was officially adopted, the Graham Special was still considered an unrealistic maneuver. Most pilots couldn't perform it, and even when Graham used it, he had to thoroughly inspect all the parts after the battle. In the footage of the mock battle, a warning message appeared in the flag's cockpit just before the transformation. This raises a personal question for me. Normally, when a dangerous action like this is attempted, a safety system should activate to prevent it. However, the flag only displayed a warning message and did not stop the transformation. Could it be that Ralphie man who directed the design, anticipated Graham's character and abilities and expected him to perform the airborne transformation. In the TV anime, the mutual trust between Ifman and Graham was very noticeable. Of course, this is just my interpretation, and the truth remains a mystery. With the advancement of technology, transforming mobile suits during combat became a common practice. The Graham maneuver was officially named the stand maneuver and was incorporated into tactical operations. In the movie, Graham uses the term stand maneuver when directing the Soul Braves team, so be sure to pay attention. The frag overcame tragedy to become an officially adopted mobile suit. Why did Slusher die? There were soldiers like Joshua who held a grudge against Graham. Graham respected Major Slusher. Look at the emblem that Graham used in the Gundam 00 story. Now compare it to the emblems that Graham and Slusher used during their time as test pilots. Don't they seem to be combining the two emblems? Graham proudly flew the flag and wore this emblem during his battles. Thank you for watching to the end. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.